Hello and welcome back. So this has been long overdue. I have moved around with my Schmincke watercolors. All the Horadam colors minus the three new ones has been in another tin. The Akademie colors have been in here pretty much all along, and it's in the same order as I think they have always been. But I decided, well, since I have a Schmincke tin that has a whole row empty, I might just as well put my Horadam colors in here as well. So I got all of my Schmincke paints in one tin. Plus, if you saw my haul video, I just bought some new colors to add to it. So I have drawn up a new swatch sheet. It's not very often I do anything with a ruler and that orderly. That's enjoy that because it's a rare sight. I do it sometimes, but not often. So I want to swatch them out. I'm not sure I want things like this, but let's try and do it. And I'll swatch them kind of yellow and yellow, and so if I have a slightly dirty brush, I won't contaminate them too bad going up. Now, both of my yellows, lemon yellows, are a little dirty, so it might come out a little bit green, but doesn't matter. It's just for my use, and I mostly use the information anyways more than the actual color. I know them well enough to know what they're like. So they're both called lemon yellow. Well, this is called lemon yellow and that one's lemon yellow light, and there's two different pigments, and you can tell that by the swatch because that one is paler and this one is darker. So that one is PY16 and this one is PY3. This is a Hansa yellow. The PY3 is not the worst of the Hansa colors, but it's not one I'm very fond of. So that is one color that once I've used up that pan, I will replace it with another cold yellow, maybe a bismuth yellow or something like that. So the warm yellow in the Akademie set is an Indian yellow. It's a mixed pigment one, PY 110 and PY 154. It's a nice yellow. So if I didn't know that there was a difference between the two, I would probably not notice too much. But when you put them up side by side, you can tell that there's a difference between the Akademie and the Horadam. This is a deep cat yellow, and it's very typical for a cat yellow. There's some orange in here as well. It's a PY 35 and PO 20, but it has that. I don't put the black lines on my swatches. I can tell when I swatch them, and I remember pretty much how the opacity is on each paint anyways. So, and here we got a PR 256, and I am not sure which this is. I think it's a naphthol red, but I'm not 100%. I'm not very good with the red pigments because I don't use them very much. It's called cadmium red hue, and this one underneath is actually cadmium medium red, and that's a real thing, PR 108. And this is much more opaque. Um, those are very clearly two different colors. It doesn't show as much on camera as it does in real life. This one seems a little bit warmer. No, colder. It is more bluish than that one. So up here we have a carmine that is PV19. It's a quinacridone rose carmine. It's quite nice. I like PV19. The equivalent of that one is no longer in this line. It's over there, and we get to it. That's alizarin crimson, the real alizarin crimson. But I have put it up there. So here from on it's gonna be a little lopsided. Now here is ultramarine blue instead. And that's the Horadam ultramarine blue, and yeah, it's an ultramarine blue. And here's the ultramarine blue from Akademie. Oops, I bled. And you can see I'm dipping pretty much the same way in each pan, so this one needs a little more activation time, but it is a paler version of ultramarine blue than the artist grade. There's a lot of reasons why that can be. It can be the size of the pigment, and it can be just another production of ultramarine blue. Prussian blue is in both sets. PR27. It's not, people don't use it so much anymore, and me either. Ha! That's I need to switch these two around because they've been switched in the palette. That was the ultramarine and that was the Prussian blue. So and I hate moving wet pans because I'm an expert in dipping my fingers in there. Oh well, I'll make a new swatch chart eventually, but maybe we can lift them off and try again. As I said, I don't use these to check the colors. I use them to check the other information. So yeah, how do they feel to paint with? If you look in the set, you can see that I have dipped deeper into the Akademie colors than the Horadam colors. And that's actually not because I've used them more. I use the Horadam way more than I use the Akademie. But that's typical for student colors. There's other things in there that is not so much pigment. It's fillers and stuff. That's just a generic yellow ochre. Not so much to say about that. So yeah, so you use up student paint quicker than you do the art grade. Here is a brilliant green. It's a single pigment. It's just a phthalo green. It's kind of a viridian bluish green type of color. It's not viridian, it just looks somewhat like it. On the other row here, we got into burnt sienna. There are no secondaries in this set. And now you can see I put a line here and it said set colors, and that one up there belongs to it too. So those colors I bought, not as a set. It was single pans that was on sale, but it was some artist that had picked them out because that was his standard palette. I left ivory black and what was the other one? Payne's gray. I didn't buy those two colors because I don't use ivory black if I can help it. And at the time I had just bought like 3 versions of Payne's gray from other brands, so I was like, I think I got enough of those. I could have said the same about ultramarine, but hey, they were really dirt cheap at the time. I actually paid the same for those what are they? 2, 4, 6, 8. Each of those cost the same at the time on sale, the same as I would normally pay for the Akademie colors. So now we get into the colors I picked for myself later here. So now we get to some more special colors here at the bottom row. On the top row, we continue with the generic palette that came with the tin. So that is a permanent green. It's PG7 mixed with PGO 62, which is an orange. So it's a little bit. I think you could also have called it sap green. I think they have in the line another green that is actually called sap green. I'm not sure. My interest for the Akademie colors is not great, and it's not because they're bad paint, because they're not. They're actually brilliant. The whole line has 24 colors in them, and if you buy them open stock, they're really, really inexpensive here in Europe at least. But they're so difficult to get hold of. In all of Denmark, I can find only one store that has them, and it's a little bit of a hassle with having to order them. And they're not. The price difference between those and the Horadam colors is not that big. Well, of course, if you take some of the really expensive colors, it is, but you could get a palette that looks a lot like this for maybe twice as much, and by the looks of it, they don't last only half as long as the Horadam colors. These look like they last 2 or 3 times as long. So I'm using these. I'm happy with them. It's not that. It is just not colors I'm going to replace. I'm going to build onto my Horadam palette myself here over time. Here's the yellow ochre from the Akademie. I should maybe at the end try and do a direct comparison with some of those that is now no longer side by side. So yeah, that the Titan Golden Ochre or Titanium Golden Ochre is one of my new colors, and I have only swatched it. I have been playing a little bit with it for some color mixes and stuff, but that's for another video. I'm trying to make shorter videos. So here is Perylene Maroon, and I'm not sure if I'm even gonna buy an permanent alizarin crimson, because I actually like this one better. But I haven't really tested it out. Well, I have, but I don't remember how it came out. But I'm gonna test out how it makes purples and violets. Up there we got English red. It could also maybe have been called burnt sienna, but it's not. It's called English red, and it's PR101 synthetic iron oxide. And yeah, it looks like a very red burnt sienna. Underneath that, from Horadam, we have Delft blue. Nice, rich, dark, warm blue. And it's PB60, so it's an indanthrene blue pigment. And over time, as I use up ultramarine, I'm probably just gonna stick with indanthrene blues because I like them way better than the ultramarine. That's my personal preference, and it's just because I like the color better. Ultramarine is a good mixing color. Sepia. Or sepia. How do you say it in English? This one is very cold. It's very gray. There's not much brown in here. The mixture says PBR 15:1. That's a phthalo blue. The PBR 7. That's a brown. That's the color that you would normally have as some of the like the siennas and the color that is not in here, the umbers and stuff. So it's a brown, earth brown, but comes in many shades. I don't know which one they have used here. I could suspect they have used an raw umber and PBK 6, which is a black. But it's a very cold sepia color. Underneath that, we have a very lively color, and it's gonna make a weird contrast because here we got cobalt turquoise, PG50. It's a single pigment color. It's a very bright turquoise, not one of the cheaper colors in the line. It's quite expensive because it's a cobalt color. And then there's the Akademie black, and that's all the 12 colors that came in the palette by itself. And it's a PBK 6. I don't remember particularly which black pigment that is. I think it's ivory black, but it could be one of the others. And then there's a Horadam color up here, and that was that alizarin crimson. And I'm quite sure the guy in the store said, oh, it's permanent alizarin crimson. It is not. It is PR 83.1, and that is the old fugitive alizarin crimson. On my screen, at least, it looks very warm red, but it is rose red. It actually has almost the same color as the carmine here. That is the PV19. So I really don't see any reason why we would use the alizarin crimson. I would much rather have the cadmium, no, not the quinacridone violets. They're light fast. Here is my new color from my latest haul. One of them again, perylene green. It's kind of funny because it's listed as opaque, but I think when I swatch it out, it seems actually quite transparent. And in mass tone, it is black. The pigment code for it is also PBK, which is pigment black, and then 31 is the identity number. And last we have graphite. And I bought this because I want to try and make some graphite mixes. Instead of or together with my graphite pencils from Derwent and my other tinted graphite watercolor pencils, because there's a lag of certain colors in there, and I have tested it out. You can make something that is a little more to my liking if you just add not very much graphite, but it is enough to kind of lean it in the right direction. So I got 14 Horadam colors now, and I got 12 from Akademie. The Horadam is, I don't know if I said this, that's their artist grade line from Schmincke. And I have lost count on how many colors they got. I think they're slowly crawling in and is matching Daniel Smith. I think they're close to them. I think there's 130 some odd maybe colors in their line. And there's enough to choose from and lots of interesting pigments and pigment mixtures. So I'll turn the camera off and let this dry and show you how it looks when it's dry. So hang on. So here it is with backgrounds and cauliflowering and all you want to call it. It's a reflection not on the paint but on my sloppy swatching and my very inexpensive paper. I don't have too much to say about this other than it looks like a mess. My my OCD voice says color coordinate them, just forget about the lines and stuff, just make them all the yellows together, regardless if they're Horadam or Akademie. But I'm gonna leave it at this for now. It actually looks worse on the swatch sheet than it does in the tin. So while this was drying, I was looking up the Horadam colors. There are 139 colors in the line currently, and I was also playing with doing some color mixes, and some of it is a little wet still. So here is the Akademie carmine, and I put it up to next to the Horadam alizarin crimson. I'll close that because that's wet paint. And I think the most noticeable difference here is not so much the color as it is the pigment concentration difference. It is a little darker, but there's also more pigment in the Horadam Horadam pan. So down here I picked up my Winsor & Newton set because I do not have permanent alizarin crimson in from Horadam, and I'm not going to buy it if I can avoid it. But here is the Perylene Maroon put up to my Winsor & Newton permanent alizarin crimson. And this Perylene green is a little more brown. Maybe even a lot more brown. But I think they're close enough. So here I did some color mixes. Here's Perylene Maroon with Indanthrane Blue. And again, a very wet mixture. So that's why it's cauliflowering and splitting and stuff. And it actually gave a decent violet. It doesn't look very good on this paper, but as long as it was wet, it gives you a little bit of a muted violet. Here I tried the alizarin crimson with the ultramarine from here. Made a more bright violet, but not too much. So I thought, okay, so how about the Perylene Maroon with ultramarine blue? And that was really quite nice. I'm looking forward to trying this on a better paper in a painting someday. This is Perylene Maroon mixed with cadmium mid-red. These two. It gives a very deep, intense, dark red. And I added the Perylene green to that, and it went just black in mass tone. It has grayed down a little bit now that it has dried. And I tried the Perylene green with the cadmium red here, and gave some really interesting grays. They have, funny enough, darkened up as they dried, but that was a very quick shortcut to a black. Here is Perylene Maroon along with the titanium ochre color, the Naples yellow, and that gives kind of coral red to peachy oranges. And here is Horadam's ochre and the Akademie ochre. There's nearly no difference. And then with the titanium gold ochre in the middle. I think that my brush was a little dirty when I put that down, so you can't really tell. But that was just some of the mixes I was testing out, and there was just some Perylene green I was playing with there. So that was what I did in my break. Oh, I'm so looking forward to painting with these again, because now I can use them as I like. And, yeah, I got this is my swatch card from Winsor & Newton, because I also bought a standard palette of that, and I have also been messing around with that, so I actually ran out of space in this one eventually. So, but that's a whole different story. That I'm gonna bring that out and give it a go someday soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll be painting with this soon, so I hope I can make a video with that. So please come back. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. See you.